Hi, I'm Dr. Cathy Martin from the Listugush Mi'kmaq community. You asked me to spell it, so it's Cathymartin. I do a number of things. My job, my employment is I am a director at the First Nation Education Administrators Association, which is in the Ottawa area. It's out of Akwesasne. Currently working remotely from home. So that is my job. I am an elected member of the community here. I'm an elected member of council for the Listugush Mi'kmaq government. And I do a number of things, but I'll decide to focus on what the interview is here today. And I am the chairperson and founder of the Epkwasik Temporary Shelter, which is where we are today doing the interview. What I value the most about what I do is helping other people. My whole life, I've been a volunteer since I can remember. Since about 8 years old, I remember volunteering up at our community church at the time. I would help the elders in the kitchen. I volunteered my whole teenage years, volunteering at the bingos, volunteering fundraising. I just liked being involved with community ever since I was a child. As an adult, all my careers have been in the profession of helping others. So I've done education, health, council, community development, different things like that. So what I like the most about this project here is helping other people. It's our way, helping everybody without judgment, so all walks of life. Okay, well, the work here that I do here at the shelter is a community effort. I can't take credit for the Epkwasik Temporary Shelter, and if you don't mind, I'd like to give a little history of that right now. So what had happened was in the summer of 2022, COVID was amidst, and there was lockdowns. There was a lot of homelessness, but there's always been a lot of homelessness in the community. And I first got the idea through a friend about a homeless shelter years back, because I had an individual, a community member, knock on my door one January morning, maybe about 7 years ago. It was freezing cold. It was minus 40, and I'm getting up. I turn my lights on. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and he's knocking on my door. And so, of course, I open my door, and being who we are as Mi'kmaq, we always invite people in. And I asked him, "What are you doing up so early in the morning?" And he says, "I'm not." He says, "I've been up all night walking the streets because I have no place to go, and if I lay down to sleep, I'm going to freeze to death." He said, "Can I please come in?" And I said, "Of course." I said, "Have a seat there." I said, "I'll make you something to eat." So he sat in a chair that I have in the corner of my kitchen area. It's not a kitchen chair, it's like a lounge chair. And I'm talking to him, and I'm trying to ask him what he wants, and he passed out. He passed out from pure exhaustion. And this man was a young man. He was not on drugs. He was not intoxicated. He simply ran out of couches to couch surf from. So that played on my heart for a while. And in discussions with the other community members, we recognized that homelessness was a problem with no alternatives to go. Housing is short in the community, different things. So a group of us got together in August. Actually, it was June. It was the end of June 2022. And we met outside. There's a new community rink there. It has a roof. We met outside so we could meet and socially distance during COVID. And we came together, a group of concerned citizens, no political affiliations or anything. We were just concerned citizens, concerned about homelessness and what we could do. And out of that, we formed a board. We applied for a non-for-profit status, and we began to immediately fundraise. Community support was overwhelming. We had donations. We had businesses donated. We had people donated. Every fundraiser we had, we were making thousands of dollars. It was just people supported the idea of having a homeless shelter because people in the community and the larger community saw a need. And when I say larger community, it was not just the Listugush Mi'kmaq people that we're helping. It was the surrounding communities where we do business in Pointe-à-la-Croix and in Camelton and beyond. They were just sending money and giving donations of furniture and different things so we could start up. So we did become established in August 2022. So that being said, we based this shelter on a Mi'kmaq value. And our value was that, and this is our value instilled into us as Mi'kmaq people, that every human is deserving of the basic essentials of life, and that is food, clothing, shelter, and acceptance. We accept everybody, and we do here too at the shelter. So it just goes to show that community members, out of nothing, none of us had any money to start this up, out of nothing but pure passion and a desire to help others, that we were able to, within 1 year, I will proudly say we were able to purchase a home, secure a home for the use of a shelter. So out of nothing, we've built something very magnificent together. We did it together. It wasn't one person, it was a community effort. So this is who we are as Mi'kmaq people. We take care of each other. We accept each other as they are. We know that the people coming through the store more often than not have addiction issues, mental health issues. They have a number of issues that they need help with, and we guide them. We are not a service provider in that sense, but we provide them shelter, a shower, a meal, and referral services. So we are open to the public for that. We primarily service our community members, yes, but there have been times where we have non-Indigenous people come to our door as well. We have provincial clients from the surrounding areas of Camelton, as far away as Bathurst, which is an hour away, referred by the New Brunswick RCMP, or they come from on the Quebec side, because we're a border community. So they come and we give them a couple of nights stay, food and shelter, and we refer them to the services in their area where they get service. We even had one interesting client, and I have to mention it because we're open to helping anyone. We had a man lost. He flew in from Nigeria, he went to Montreal, and he was en route to Halifax. And somehow he got off the train in Camelton because he doesn't know this country, and Halifax is another 6 hours on the train, and he was lost. So the RCMP in Camelton redirected him to our shelter. So we even had a man here for 2 nights from Nigeria, and we had to help him get a bus ticket to Halifax to get him on his way. So we're very interesting here in what we do. We open our doors to everybody. It's basically, and that's who we are as Mi'kmaq people. Right now, our night attendance, we currently do not have any in-house counselors or anything, but all our night attendants, all our workers, our admin workers, our board members, we have a couple of social workers and teachers on there, and they're often here volunteering to help and provide guidance. And yes, we do a lot of cultural acceptance, a lot of cultural teachings. We don't have the resources yet to take people out on the land, but we do refer them to the services that are already in the community that do that. But it's just our holistic and acceptance approach that we have here, and non-judgmental, and people feel very comfortable coming through these doors. And again, that is part of our culture, is who we are. And we do, and you just reminded me something. We're not doing cultural practices here, but we have a lot of people donate things, and I have to say, we have Mi'kmaq hunters who donate huge amounts of moose meat. We have Mi'kmaq fishers who bring a huge amount of salmon, and they donate it to the shelter for the purpose of taking care of people in need. And yes, that is 100% our culture, and that is land-based. And I will acknowledge Hunter Darren Matot, as he gave significant moose meat, and fisher Ronnie Moffat-Swasson, who also gave an abundance of salmon. So we have our traditional hunters and fishers out there that give. And this shelter, as it is, we have a complimentary service. We opened up the garage portion, and it was attached to a business-like portion into a thrift store, a secondhand thrift store. And I have to say that 100% of the inventory is all donated from community members who traditionally pay it forward, give what you don't need. Rather than waste, recycle it, give it away. So we have very cheap prices in our thrift store. I'm not trying to promote it, but they're very affordable prices. And sometimes, and I'll admit it, myself or whoever the volunteers working at the thrift store are usually board members, and we often turn a blind eye and say, well, no, you can have that for free, when we know that the person is in need of something. They don't have to pay the dollar for the shirt or and so we do that quite often because it's donated. We're not there to make money from the thrift store. We're there to provide a service, a complimentary service that is needed. Basically, our values are based on acceptance of other people as they are. Everyone has a place. There's no hierarchy here. There's no that I'm a director and you're a homeless person, and this person's a social worker, this person's a teacher, and that person's just a janitor, and that person. There's none of that. We are people, all the same. We all hurt. We all have needs, and the very basic need of a person is acceptance. And this is what we offer primarily at the shelter. Sure, we offer you a meal and a place to sleep, but we offer acceptance. It doesn't matter who you are. You come through the door, you're welcome, and we're going to help you. And that is who we are as Mi'kmaq people. And so this is what this is based on, our value of acceptance of who you are, and as we are equal. And again, I'll reiterate, as a community, all seeing ourselves as equal, all helping each other. Start with nothing and you end up with something magnificent. I did do a book on strengthening Canadian Indigenous relationships, and it is based on value systems. And within that book, I contrast our Indigenous values, our Indigenous ways of life, and I contrast that to more non-Indigenous hierarchical ways. So I contrast holistic value systems and hierarchical ones. And again, there's never any absolute value systems. There's always overlapping, but predominantly as Indigenous people, we're very holistic. We see things as a whole. We view things as equal. We have there's no hierarchy. Where you see status in other communities where you have to work your way up the ladder, where you have to always be on guard. And I know I'm sounding biased against one to the other. I can't help that because I'm more holistic. But typically in a hierarchical system, you have to climb the ladder to get recognition. Within a holistic community, you get recognition the day you're born as a community member, as being part of that. We have celebrations for accepting newborns in the community. You're accepted. You don't have to earn your acceptance in the community. You are accepted as you are. When we look down the road and we see different people with different personalities, different challenges, different job status, whatever, we know them as they are, different personalities. We accept them as they are. You'll often hear, well, that's how that person is, don't mind them. And they're accepted as they are. In a hierarchical system, your acceptance is earned. You have to earn it. Even, you're going to be on a basketball team, you have to earn it. You have to compete. You have to compete sometimes even to get into preschool. There's always a competition. There's always a dog-eat-dog world. Like, you've always got to watch your back. Whereas in a holistic community, everyone has your back. You're there together. You're working for the betterment of the whole. And I know that sounds idealistic, but that's where our values are based upon. And when you look at leadership, because I'm also a politician, when you look at leadership, there's a lot of conflict in First Nation communities and a lot of turmoil, and there's a reason for that. We're practicing leadership based on a hierarchical system when our value system are ingrained in us as holistic. So when you get people that offer for the positions of chief or council in your communities, they're there, they're good people, they want to help others. They're elected in on the belief, not only from themselves, but from the community, that they're there to help, and they're there to help equally, but they're working in a system that's designed for hierarchical and equality, not equity. Everyone gets 5 cents, as opposed to when traditionally, when we had ancestors, everyone got what they needed. The leadership emerged, and people got what they needed. If you were sick, maybe you didn't have to do as much, but you still got things. Everyone had their place. And I'll bring it back to a primitive hunt. And I do mention this in my book, where you have your primitive hunt, you have hunting. Everyone has a part in that, from the youngest children to the oldest elders. You need people to bless the hunters, to prepare them. You have children serving the food once it's ready. Everyone in the community has a role in this hunt. It's not just the hunters, it's everybody. And it's a very holistic way to do things, and it's very accountable and reliable and responsible. You need to be part of this community as it's holistic, because if somebody does not do their part in this hunting, they just don't get a slap on the wrist. It affects everybody in the village. So if they don't do their part, and something's not done well or right, and everybody gets sick, or everybody suffers, the community suffers. You contrast that to a hierarchical system, and I'll go into, and I do mention this too in my book as well, about restorative justice and justice systems. But I'm doing a gloss over here. Whereas when you do something, you're held only personally accountable. There's no real consequences for everybody around you, or that it's not acknowledged, even though that there is. So you'll get your slap on the wrist, you'll get your fine, you'll get your punishment. It's very based on punishment in the hierarchical system. So in the holistic system, it's internal. You're going to feel it because you've affected so many other people, and you're held responsible. Not necessarily, you're not going to be punished, but you know that your actions, other people relied on you, and there's teachings from the elders that come with that. What could you have done differently? How are you going to make up for what you've done? And you have to be part of that solution as a member of this society. It's not somebody else dictating, well, you did this, so the policy says that you have to pay this fine or serve this much time or do whatever, and this is what's dictated to you. No, as part of the whole, you are still part of that whole, even though you've done something inappropriate or wrong. And you see that. I talk about too in my book about in the workplace how when you have holistic values and hierarchical values, how it affects you, because you expect to be treated equally. Because if you work in any government buildings, usually in First Nation communities, the receptionist is the same caliber as the CEO. Okay, you would have the receptionist say to the CEO as they walk by, we're out of paper. Can you ask somebody to order that paper? In a non-Indigenous community, you would be reprimanded for that, because there is a hierarchy you have to go through. You have to go to your supervisor. Your supervisor has to ask the proper person to ask. And again, you have this sense of inequality, hierarchical, when holistic, we're all people. We need paper. Can you please order paper? Those kind of things. And I'll get back to my political stance, where it causes turmoil not only within the individual, but within the community, because you're entrusted to make decisions in a holistic manner, not on paper. It's what's intrinsic to you as a First Nation person offering your services to the community. But you're operating in a system of policy and a foreign governing system. So you're trying to have the best of both worlds. You're trying to be true to yourself, and you're trying to avoid conflicts of interest, but in First Nation communities, you're always in conflict because one, you're either related to somebody, closely related, you're a close friend to these people. If you're not a close friend, maybe you're an adversary, maybe you're an enemy, and again, that puts you in conflict. So it makes it very difficult to, one, make decisions, but you still can. And then you have the expectation of people that you're there, we voted you there to help us. Yet you didn't help us, and you helped so-and-so down the road, and so-and-so. My needs are just as much as their needs, but you have this hierarchical system that says you only have so much, and you can only give so much, and how are you going to do this? So you're in constant conflict of who you're going to help, how you're going to help them, how you're going to try to balance policy and hierarchical systems and be fair and accommodate expectations of people who have always been there for you and who also need help. So you have this inner turmoil of, what do I do? And these people are, like I said, close to you, they're related to you, they're going to get upset with you if you don't happen to help them. And so it causes internal conflict as an elected official in your community, as a community leader. And it also causes conflict in the community because there's this duality happening here. You have this holistic value system primarily, and you're trying to understand and operate and support people that are having this hierarchical system. And so it causes constant conflict and constant turmoil. I don't necessarily know the answer to remedy that, but I know that it exists. As a Indigenous politician, I know that it exists. And I know that the expectations of the public are what they expected you to do when they elect you in. And it's not just in Listigosh, it's across Canada, because we're all very similar. We're all very diverse. First Nations, I'll say that, but we're all very similar in how we've been treated by the external governments and the systems that we are, forced to follow. I hope to achieve that our value systems still remain. I really hope that in lieu of the constant change, and change is constant. If there's one thing in life that's constant, it is change. So there are changing policies, there's changing governments, there's changing everything. What I really would like for us as a Mi'kmaq community and as First Nations across this country is to really hang on to your values, the values that are intrinsic within you. Hang on to those holistic values. Hang on to your language. We're losing it. Learn your language if you don't know it. Better yet, teach it to young children. They will use it. Keep your language. It's part of who you are. Keep your culture. And even if you don't know your language, use as much of it as you can. Even if the only word you can say is "Walal" and "thank you" or "hello" or anything, use the phrases that you know and build from there. Keep your language. Keep your culture. Keep your culture alive. Continue your traditional ways. Continue to teach about the medicines in the woods and the cultural practices of hunting and fishing and gathering and the artwork. Keep it. It's so valuable. It's so valuable. And to the survivors, thank you. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for being there and for understanding you've suffered so much. But now, in this day and age, we've come to recognize your suffering, and as Indigenous people and as non-Indigenous people. And so, don't want to thank you for your hardships, but thank you for your resiliency and for helping shed the light. And I think your resiliency for the survivors will help keep our cultures alive, because you've suffered so much, and the ones that did not survive suffered even more. And we still survived. We still have our culture. We still have our language. Even though some of it is critically in distress, we still have it. And so we're going to take what we have in honor of what you lost, and we're going to build from there. Because as I said, even from nothing, you can build something magnificent. So as long as we have an inkling of culture and language and holistic values, we can build something magnificent. The effect that my culture has had on my own well-being, I can. Because I have to say right now, I can tell you I've had the best of both worlds. And I can tell you this story stemming from a child who was First Nation, going to, and this community, all our children went to school, my age anyway, across the river in Campbellton, and it was a non-Indigenous school. And I say I hold the best of both worlds because I can conceal my identity as a First Nation person, which I had to do several times growing up as a child to avoid being racialized, to avoid being beat up, to avoid a lot of things. So I had the best of both worlds because I looked more non-Indigenous than perhaps some of my siblings, because my mother was non-Indigenous, she was American, and my father was First Nation from this community, and I grew up in this community of Listugush. So I lived the best of both worlds, where I could be Indigenous, but I could also conceal it when I needed to, and it was a safety measure. And so stemming from that partly builds who I am. So much of my childhood I had to hide being Indigenous. So I made sure in my adulthood, I'm very proud to be Indigenous. I am an advocate for Indigenous people, and I really go out there, and I'm out there and I promote culture and language. I'm trying to learn my language. I won't give that up. I use as much of it as I can. I work for my community. I work for my people, and I no longer have to hide the fact that I'm Indigenous. No, not really, but I know you probably have questions of what's all this behind me with my temporary shelter, and some envelopes there, and I have we do a lot of fundraising here for our shelter. I'll go back to the shelter because I am the chair of the shelter. We do not have any government funding as of yet. It's totally by donations and support of the people. Initially, we were supported, just moral support from our tribal council, our 7th District Tribal Council. They are the council of the people. We didn't receive band council support in the beginning, for a number of reasons. But we did receive the support of the people, so we built on that. So it was all fundraising, and right now we have a fundraiser called Catch the Jack, which is similar to what everyone knows as Chase the Ace, and so we're building that to get some money. We did a lot of mini lottos, we did giant bingos, we did barbecues, so and we did just soliciting from funders and we're currently doing that, seeking funding. Yes, Epquazik. Okay, as you may or may not know, I am not a fluent speaker. So when we sat with the board, and I said, I want to honor our language, I want to use a Mi'kmaq term. So I went to a Mi'kmaq dictionary online and I looked up shelter. And Epquazik means to shelter, mainly to shelter by protecting. So I talked to a few fluent Mi'kmaq speakers, older individuals in the community, and I got a number of responses, and they said it's not a common term that's used, but it's used like to shelter, to protect. Like you would use it in Epquazik, like to wrap trees, or a mother wrapping her child with her skirt to prevent, protect it from the wind, to protect your face from sand blowing in your face and things like that. You would use Epquazik to shelter, to protect. So we really like that word. There's two pronunciations to it. There's Epquazik. Some people pronounce it that way, and some people say Epquazik. So I know when we first had it, we had 2 apostrophes in there, so it would say Epquazik. And then another elder in the community says, that's not how you say it, it's Epquazik, so take off that apostrophe. And I'm not about to argue with elders, so right now I just say there's 2 pronunciations, but they both mean the same. It means to protect by sheltering or shielding. So that's what it means. And that's how it was chosen.